Hello my friends, William Poloniak here again from Whole Health Foundation. And today's juice I'm going to be making another spine cord rejuvenation and anti-inflammatory juice. And my ingredients are mostly French sorrel, which sweetens up your juice as well as cleanses every gland in your body, and an abundance of dandelion. Let's look at the rest of my ingredients. In addition to the French sorrel, which nourishes and sweetens up every gland in your body, and in addition to the dandelion, I have carrots, of course, 160 grams of turmeric, broccoli leaves. Now you can't buy broccoli leaves, you have to grow them. They don't sell them in the stores. I have some red Swiss chard, 1 large beet, garlic, ginger of course, and 1 leek plant. So let's make some juice. Now as usual, I'm going to plug in my thermometer and feed in 3 ice cubes to cool down the cutter and the feed tube. Now I want to point out I'm using the near zero blowback cutter and the front loading feed tube, and from time to time I'll remind everyone why that is beneficial. First of all, the near zero blowback cutter does a much better job on greens. So let's crush the ice first to cool down the cutter and the feed tube. Now I'm going to start with the dandelions. Just like a hot knife through butter. The near zero blowback cutter does an excellent job on greens. Now a couple of tips: check your wing nuts every so often, rotate your bowl. Now whenever you do greens, clean your grid often because greens are very, very fibrous. So we'll scrape off the pulp fiber from both sides of the grid, replace it, and continue juicing more greens. Now I want to remind you again, because the near zero blowback cutter does such an efficient job on greens, you're going to be tempted to put in more greens. Don't do that. Less is more effective. So put in less greens and it'll shred better. Next I'm going to put in some turmeric. A little more turmeric. Rotate my bowl, and I'm going to start with the French sorrel. Remember, less is more effective. Sorrel. Now I want to remind you that French sorrel not only nourishes and sweetens up your juice, it's also not available in stores. You have to grow it yourself. If you can't find any in your nursery, your plant nursery, contact me and I'll either sell you some or tell you how to get it. So my temperature's up to 28 again, 3 more ice cubes, then I'm going to clean my grid and shred the rest of my greens. Clean my grid. Clean both sides. And then we're going to shred the rest of my greens. But first we'll do the rest of my turmeric. My garlic. Rotate your bowl, and my ginger. Now because this is an anti-inflammatory juice, I'm putting in twice as much ginger and twice as much turmeric as I usually do. And my temperature's climbing again, so a couple more ice cubes. Next I'm going to do my leek. Leek are similar to onions but a sweeter taste. Now as you can hear, my motor's working very hard because of that leak. And the leek leaves, so I'm going to clean the grid again. Both sides. Now before I do the rest of my greens, I'm going to put a couple of carrots through. Now I'm noticing, because of all the greens that I'm shredding, some juice liquid is collected in the bottom of the bowl, so I'm going to put in a couple of carrots and let the pulp come out to absorb this juice. Take that pulp, let it absorb the juice and push it through. I'm going to clean my grid one more time and then we'll do the broccoli greens. Rotate your bowl. More broccoli greens, and it's a good idea to feed in the stem and end first. Now I'm done with my broccoli, so now I'm going to do my beets. Chard. Now that's the last of my greens, so I'm going to put in a couple of carrots, clean my grid, and do the rest of my carrots. Now I want to point out the reason I put 2 carrots through is to force the greens through so that I can clean my grid, and I'm going to continue with the rest of my carrots. Now normally I would use the J grid for greens, but the near zero blowback cutter does such a good job, I'm using the number 2 grid for everything. We'll continue with carrots. Point out that one reason I like the front-loading feed tube, you can actually look in here and see what's going on, and usually there's a plug of carrot or other produce in there, so I'm going to put in some pulp and force that last plug of produce through. Then I'm going to clean my grid holder and feed tube and make some juice. The next step, of course, is to take the cloths out of the freezer, unfold them, and then we're going to mix our produce. Now you keep the cloths in the freezer because germs cannot grow in the freezer, and you don't want any airborne contaminants to get into your juicing cloths. Cleanliness is very, very important. Next I'm going to demonstrate my less work 6-cloth method. Putting 3 ladles full of pulp in each cloth, flatten that down, fold it into thirds, and make a tight package. The tighter the better. Fold it, set it aside. I want to point out a little tip here. Whenever I can remember, I pull the folding tray a little bit over the counter so that my cloths are not touching the counter, because cleanliness is very, very important. Fold that into thirds, and I'm going to start by pressing 2 cloths at once. 2 cloths full of pulp gives you better pressure and more juice. So centered left to right, centered front to back, adjust that if necessary all the way back, back it off a little bit, turn on the juicer, and continue filling cloths with pulp. And here's my 6-cloth method. This goes forward, this goes over, the spent cloths go on top. 2 new cloths into the tray. Centered left to right, centered front to back, adjusted if necessary, all the way back, back it off a little bit. Now there's 2 methods with the 6-cloth less work method. One is to take the old pulp, crush it up and put it inside the container where you see some puddling of juice, and then put in 3 more scoops of pulp. The second method is to not put the pulp in the bowl, but to put 2 new scoops on top of the already spent pulp, advance that all the way. 2 scoops, and later only 1 scoop because this patty is going to get very, very thick. Pull that into a tight package, flatten it. This goes forward, that goes over, the spent cloths go on top. And again, 2 more cloths into the tray, all the way back it off, make sure it's centered, front to back, left to right, and continue. Now continue, when you're on your last cloth, advance that all the way. Remember, keep your eye on the bowl because you don't want that to overflow. So 2 more scoops. Now these patties are getting very thick, so next time we'll only put 1 scoop. The bowl's getting very, very full. I don't want that to overflow. So what we're going to do now is we'll put that in bottles. This goes forward, that goes over, the spent pulp goes on top. Now, so that this doesn't drip on my countertop, I'm going to set it back, but not just a little bit, a lot. You want it to be obvious. You don't want to forget. Set it back a little and damage your tray. Set it back so that it's very, very obvious. And this is going to now go into bottles. Now I'm filling this from the back side so that you can get a better look from the camera angle. And you'll notice I'm leaving about 10% not filled because I'm going to top it off with distilled water or filtered water. Juice is generally too concentrated anyway. Continue making more juice. Put my last 2 cloths in. And again, centered left to right, centered front to back, make an adjustment if necessary, all the way back, back it off a little bit, and I'm going to continue folding these into a tight package to demonstrate how we get 10% more juice using the Whole Health Foundation Premium Model Juicer. Now I've repackaged all of the spent pulp into 3 tight packages, and I'm going to use a measuring beaker to show how much more juice we can get using a Whole Health Foundation Premium Model Juicer. So we'll put 2 of these repackaged cloths in the press. Looks like it's a tight fit, but we'll get that in there. Make sure your press tray is on the press plate securely. Centered front to back, centered left to right. Now this is especially important when you're pressing the repackaged cloths. All the way back, and this time when I get juice flow I'm going to back it off. There we go, we'll back that off a little bit. You do not want that to go up too fast. Now as soon as you determine you've got traction between the cloths, you can advance it a little bit more. All the way. So there's 4 ounces. Let's put in 2 more packages. And again, make sure your tray's on securely. Center it left to right. Center it front to back. Adjust it if necessary. Now it's very, very important to have this in the center of the tray. All the way back, and as soon as I get juice flow, I'm going to back that off. Now remember, you do not want this to go up too fast. You want to establish that you get traction between the two claws. Advance it a little bit more when you figure that's done, and then all the way. Now I'm going to shut that off because I'm already up to 18 ounces and my beaker is going to overfill. So I'm going to pour this into the collection bowl. And another thing I've done is I've repackaged the pulp again because the packages were too wide. So let's see, can we get even more juice out of this second repackaging effort. Your most valuable nutrients are in the last 10% of your press. So this is very, very precious juice. That's it all the way. Now I want to remind you again, the last 10% of your press is the most valuable in terms of nutrients. There's 5 ounces. Well, there's another 9 ounces, so I'm not going to let this go too long. I want to keep this video short, so that's another, let's see, 9 and 18, another 27 ounces of juice. So let's pour this into the container, into bottles, and then we'll do a taste test. Well, my friends, as you can see from this batch of juice, I got 5, 10, 12 bottles of juice, and remember that 2 of these are from the reprocessed pulp when I formed the spent pulp into a tighter package and pressed it again. So we're getting 2 more bottles of juice using the Whole Health Foundation premium juicer, and I have enough for a taste test in addition to that. So let's do a taste test. Alright, my friends, this is a spine cord rejuvenation and anti-inflammatory juice formula, and I'm going to do a taste test. Boy, that's a sweet juice. The French sorrel tends to sweeten up a juice. I can taste a tad of bitterness which comes from the dandelion, but overall it's a very tasty juice. I hope you like what you've seen. And if you do, please tell a friend. And if you'd like to call me, my phone number is 760-753-0321. My email address is developtrust@cox.net, and my webpage is wholehealthfound.com. And remember, soon the near zero blowback cutter will be available for sale, and so will the front loading feed tube. If you're interested in either of those, give me a call or send me an email. See you in the next video.